Imagine this. A deadly plague has shut down your entire university. You are forced to go home. No internet, no lab, no teachers. Just you, alone, in a farmhouse in the English countryside. Most people would waste that time. One man used it to figure out how the entire universe works. His name was Isaac Newton. And what he did next changed everything. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to discover the full, untold story of the greatest scientific mind who ever lived. Not just gravity, not just the apple. The real story of a boy nobody believed in, who single-handedly built the foundation of modern science, mathematics, and our entire understanding of the physical world. Stay with us, because this story will change how you see the world around you. Isaac Newton was born on Christmas Day, 1642, in a small village called Woolsthorpe, England. His father had died before he was even born. As a child, Newton was sharp, incredibly sharp. He loved building things with his hands, mechanical gadgets, tiny windmills, sundials. He built them all from scratch. But here is the surprising part. At school, nobody noticed. He was considered inattentive, unremarkable. Just another quiet kid who didn't stand out. His mother pulled him out of school as a teenager, convinced that his future was on the farm. She was almost right. Almost. Thankfully, a teacher recognized something in Newton that others had missed. A rare and restless mind that needed to be challenged. He was sent to Cambridge University at 18. And that is where everything changed. At Cambridge, Newton absorbed everything: mathematics, physics, philosophy, astronomy, faster than anyone around him. He didn't just learn what was known. He started asking questions nobody had thought to ask. And then, the plague hit. In 1665, the Great Plague of London swept across England. Cambridge University shut its doors. Newton, just 21 years old, was sent home. For 18 months, he sat in that quiet farmhouse in Woolsthorpe with nothing but time and his own mind. Most people would have waited it out. Newton invented calculus. Yes, between the ages of 21 and 23, Isaac Newton invented an entirely new branch of mathematics that the world had never seen before. Integral calculus, the mathematical tool that makes it possible to calculate motion, change, and the behavior of everything from planets to particles. Without calculus, there would be no modern engineering, no physics, no space travel, no computer chips, and he was 23 years old. But he wasn't finished. During those same months at home, Newton also began his deep investigation into the nature of light, the behavior of moving objects, and the invisible force that pulls everything toward the Earth. Those 18 plague months were, without question, the most productive period in the history of human thought. Let's talk about what Newton actually discovered, because most people only know the surface of it. First, the nature of light. Newton took ordinary white light and passed it through a prism. What came out the other side stopped him cold. White light, the light you see every single day, is actually a mixture of every color of the rainbow. He proved it, documented it, and used his understanding of light to design and build the first reflecting telescope in 1668. The same type of telescope used in major observatories around the world today. Then came his 3 laws of motion. Law 1. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion, unless something acts on it. Law 2. The most fundamental law in all of classical physics. Force equals mass times acceleration. Every rocket launch, every car crash calculation, every bridge ever built. All of it traces back to this one equation. Law 3. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And finally, the law that made him immortal. The law of universal gravitation. The idea that every single object in the universe, every planet, every star, every apple falling from a tree, pulls on every other object. And Newton didn't just state these laws, he proved them mathematically. He showed exactly how they worked. He made them usable. The universe suddenly had rules, and Newton had written them down. In 1687, Newton published a book, Its full title was Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. Most people just call it the Principia, and it may be the single greatest scientific document ever produced by a human being. In the Principia, Newton took all of his laws, gravity, motion, calculus, and used them to do something nobody had ever done before. He predicted exactly where every planet in our solar system would be, at any given moment, in the past, present, or future. Not approximately, exactly. The French scientist Laplace, one of history's greatest mathematical minds, read the Principia and wrote, "It is preeminent above any other production of human genius." Think about that. One man, one book, written with a quill and ink by candlelight in the 17th century. And it solved the principal problem of astronomy, the precise prediction of the positions and motions of every star and planet. Completely, in one magnificent sweep. Astronomers, engineers, and physicists would rely on Newton's Principia for the next 250 years, right up until Einstein came along. And even then, for most practical purposes, Newton's laws still work perfectly. Your GPS, the satellites above your head right now, the spacecraft we have sent to the edge of our solar system, all of it still runs on Newton's equations. Here is the most important thing to understand about Isaac Newton. Before Newton, the world was the same. For thousands of years, from 1500 BC to 1500 AD, most human beings lived essentially the same way. They farmed the same way. They built the same way. They traveled the same way. Then came Newton, and within 2 centuries of his discoveries, the entire world had been turned upside down. The Industrial Revolution, powered by Newton's laws of mechanics and thermodynamics. The age of electricity, built on the physics Newton pioneered. Modern medicine, developed using mathematical tools, descended from his calculus. Space exploration, calculated entirely using his law of gravitation. The digital revolution, grounded in the physics and mathematics Newton established. Newton himself made contributions to thermodynamics, the study of heat, to acoustics, the study of sound. He discovered the binomial theorem in mathematics. He formulated the principles of conservation of momentum and angular momentum. He gave the first scientific explanation for how stars are formed. If you open any encyclopedia of science and count the references to individual scientists, Newton has more entries than any other human being, 2 to 3 times more than anyone else. That is not an accident. That is the measure of a legacy unlike any other in the history of human thought. So why does Newton rank above everyone else? Above Alexander the Great? Above Einstein? Above every king, emperor, and conqueror in history? Here is the answer. Political leaders change borders. Military leaders win battles. Religious leaders inspire billions. But Newton changed the operating system of human civilization. His contemporary and rival, the mathematician Leibniz, a man who genuinely disliked Newton, still admitted this. Taking mathematics from the beginning of the world to the time Newton lived. What he has done is much the better part. The mathematician Lagrange called him the greatest genius who ever lived, and Ernst Mach wrote in 1901, "All that has been accomplished in mathematics since his day has been a development of mechanics on the basis of Newton's laws." Newton found science a collection of isolated facts. He left it a unified system of laws capable of predicting the behavior of the entire physical universe. No other human being in history has done anything remotely close to that. When Newton died in 1727, he was buried in Westminster Abbey, the first scientist ever to receive that honor. The man who started as a failed farmer's son ended up changing the world more than any king, general, or emperor who ever lived. Newton once said, "If I have seen further than others, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants, the greatest mind in history, still giving credit to those who came before him." That is the lesson. Greatness is not just about talent, it is about curiosity, discipline, and the courage to keep asking, why? Kindly share, like, and subscribe to the Blessing Mindz channel. And please share this video so we can keep creating more and more content for you. The Blessing Mindz logo appears now. Carry it with you as a reminder that the greatest investment you will ever make is in your own mind.